The story of the Annabelle doll transcends the silver screen, delving into accounts that ignite curiosity and fear. What begins as an inanimate object can become a portal to the inexplicable, an invitation to unravel a dark past. The narrative surrounding this figure is shrouded in whispers of disturbing events, shaping public perception of the evil that can reside in ordinary objects. But first, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. This aura of mystery deepens as we examine the initial chapters of this macabre saga. The doll, a seemingly harmless gift, soon reveals itself as the center of intense and disturbing paranormal activity. Early accounts describe subtle manifestations that gradually escalate in intensity, leaving those involved in a state of perplexity and growing apprehension. Annabelle's fame did not arise overnight, but was built on a series of incidents that defy rational logic. With each account, the veil covering its origin and nature thickens, inviting investigation from those fascinated by a world where reality bends to the supernatural. The allure of the dark and mysterious is, without a doubt, a powerful driver. The true nature of the events surrounding the doll is often obscured by fiction, making the distinction between fact and legend an intriguing challenge. However, the strength of the narrative lies precisely in its ambiguity, allowing the public's imagination to fill in the gaps with their own fears and speculations. This initial dive into Annabelle's legend serves as a gateway, setting the stage for us to explore the more concrete contours of her story. We will unravel the origins of the accounts and what in fact fuels the dread associated with this doll, separating fiction from the premises that gave rise to one of the most notorious supposedly haunted artifacts. Annabelle's modern story is intrinsically linked to the couple Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators. It was they who brought the doll to the forefront, documenting their experiences and alleged phenomena. Their narrative describes a doll that, on its own, exhibited anomalous behavior, defying rational explanations. The Warrens' initial accounts detail manifestations that went beyond mere imagination. The doll appeared to move on its own, leaving traces of its supposed mobility. These events, initially interpreted with caution, quickly turned into genuine concern and a mystery to be unraveled, creating a scenario of controlled tension. According to the investigators themselves, the doll was a receptacle, an object that channeled an entity or energy of a malevolent nature. This fundamental premise is crucial to understanding the fear surrounding it. The idea of an inanimate object being a vehicle for the supernatural has always generated a dark fascination in many cultures. The documentation by the Warrens served as the cornerstone for Annabelle's popular legend. Their files, filled with details of encounters and investigations, fueled a growing public interest. The narrative gradually unfolds, without abrupt scares, but with a growing sense of something unusual and disturbing at play. It is crucial when approaching this story to consider the primary source of information. The Warrens' perspective, while widely disseminated, is only one angle of a complex narrative. We will now explore how these initial accounts were received and what elements contributed to their consolidation as a horror icon. Before becoming the terror incarnate, Annabelle was actually a common Raggedy Ann doll. Its origin is believed to date back to the 1970s, when it was given to a nursing student by her mother. The simplicity of the gift starkly contrasts with the complexity of the events that would follow, an intriguing gradual development. The student and her roommate began to notice strange behaviors from the doll. It seemed to change position on its own, and enigmatic messages supposedly appeared on papers around the house. These incidents, though initial, planted the seeds of genuine mystery about the doll's nature. Initially, they attributed these events to imagination or coincidence. However, the frequency and nature of the phenomena led them to seek answers. The Raggedy Ann doll, a childlike symbol, began to be associated with something more sinister, fueling an underlying fear. The narrative builds slowly, allowing apprehension to grow. There is no initial shock, but rather an accumulation of events that lead to the conclusion that something anomalous is occurring. Resolution seemed distant, as the students felt increasingly cornered by the situation. The educational context here is how everyday objects can, in certain narratives, become focal points of paranormal attention. The doll, in its original form, was harmless, but the story transformed it into a symbol of latent danger. The situation with the doll became so disturbing that the students sought help from a medium. It was during this consultation that the true nature of what was happening was, supposedly, revealed. The medium declared that the doll was not possessed, but rather a conduit for a spirit. This spirit, identified as Annabelle Higgins, a young woman who had supposedly died on the property where the doll was found, was seeking a body to inhabit. The medium explained that the doll was an ideal receptacle, allowing the spirit to manifest through it, creating genuine mystery about its intentions. The appropriate warning here is that the narrative of spirit-seeking bodies is a recurring theme in paranormal accounts. It is important to analyze this information with a critical mind, distinguishing belief from concrete evidence. The gradual development of the girls' narrative is crucial to understanding their growing distress. The resolution, according to the medium, involved a ritual. The doll was handed over to the Warrens so they could deal with the entity, marking a turning point in the story. The curse was not inherent to the doll itself, but to the spirit using it as a means of expression. The educational context lies in the diversity of explanations for paranormal phenomena. It is not always direct possession, but spiritual influences that manifest in complex and sometimes frightening ways. After the medium's intervention and its handover to the Warrens, the doll underwent a transformation that transcended its original appearance. The Warrens placed it in their Museum of Paranormal Artifacts inside a glass case with the inscription, "Do not open." This measure was taken to contain what they believed to be malevolent energy. The glass case itself added a layer of suspense and mystery. It became a visual symbol of contained danger, a constant reminder that something dark was there, under control, but still present. This construction of atmosphere is a key element in the fear factor formula, maintaining tension without being excessive. The doll's appearance, a Raggedy Ann with its friendly features, in contrast to the dark story surrounding it, intensified the shock. This juxtaposition of the innocent and the sinister is a powerful trigger for fear, exploiting the breach of expectations. The partial resolution to the initial story was to keep it contained. However, the mystery surrounding its true nature and potential danger continued to fuel public interest and fear. The gradual development of its fame, driven by the Warrens' accounts, solidified its place in the horror pantheon. The implicit warning is that fame and fiction can often overshadow reality. The Annabelle doll is a prime example of how a story can evolve, taking on increasingly terrifying dimensions, even if the original premises are more tenuous. The impact of Annabelle's story extended beyond paranormal circles, conquering the world of cinema. The Conjuring franchise and its spin-offs introduced the doll to a global audience, definitively shaping its image as a horror icon. This transposition to the screen amplified the legend, generating a new level of recognition. The cinematic representations, though dramatically intensified for entertainment purposes, explored the idea of the dark mystery surrounding the doll. Controlled tension is frequently used in suspense scenes where the threat is imminent but not yet fully revealed, keeping the viewer on the edge of their seat. The cinematic narrative often deviates from the details documented by the Warrens, opting for more elaborate and frightening plots. This adaptation is crucial for commercial appeal, but also raises questions about the veracity of the original events and the thin line between fact and fiction. The gradual development of the narrative in the films, with the doll manifesting in increasingly aggressive ways, contributes to the creation of palpable fear. The audience is led to believe in the threat it represents, even knowing it is a work of fiction. The resolution in each film is usually to neutralize the threat, but the doll's legacy remains. It has become a recognizable symbol of paranormal danger, a testament to the power of stories to shape our perception of the inexplicable. It is crucial for a deeper understanding to discern between the real Annabelle doll, documented by the Warrens, and its fictional counterpart on cinema screens. The doll itself, in reality, was a Raggedy Ann doll with a relatively common and innocuous appearance. Its transformation occurred through alleged spiritual influence. In cinema, Annabelle is often depicted with a more sinister appearance and an aura of inherent malevolence. Her manifestations are more violent and direct, reflecting the need to create scares and strong visual impact. This is a narrative strategy to maximize terror and engagement. Controlled tension in real life, according to reports, was more subtle, with movements and whispers. In cinema, this tension is elevated to a level of pursuit and direct attacks, creating genuine mystery about how to escape its malevolent influence. The gradual development of events in the Warrens' accounts involved a progressive discovery of the problem's nature. In the films, the threat is often presented more immediately, with the audience being introduced to the danger more explicitly from the outset. The resolution to the real doll's mystery, from the Warrens' perspective, was to contain it. In fiction, the resolution involves confrontations and exorcisms, offering a more dramatic conclusion to each presented story. The enduring fascination with the Annabelle doll can, in part, be explained by our inherent interest in the dark and mysterious. The idea of an innocent object carrying a malevolent force taps into primal fears, such as loss of control and the invasion of the sacred by the profane. The fear factor formula seeks to create suspense without exploiting pathological traumas, and Annabelle's story fits this. It presents danger in a controlled manner, allowing the audience to experience fear vicariously without direct trauma. The narrative unfolds gradually, increasing apprehension. Genuine mystery lies in not knowing exactly when or how the doll will manifest, or the true extent of its power. This uncertainty is a key ingredient in maintaining attention and interest, exploring the thin line between the believable and the impossible. The resolution, for many, is not about proving or disproving Annabelle's existence, but about the satisfaction of exploring these narratives. The educational context here is that fear and fascination with the unknown are integral parts of the human experience, and stories like this offer a safe channel to explore them. The appropriate warning is that as we explore these stories, we should maintain a critical sense and distinguish entertainment from reality, especially when dealing with paranormal phenomena. When telling stories about supposedly cursed artifacts, like the Annabelle doll, it is crucial to include appropriate warnings. The content may be disturbing for some audiences, and it is our ethical duty to inform about the nature of the material. Controlled tension should be maintained, avoiding overly graphic descriptions or those that might cause unnecessary discomfort. The genuine mystery surrounding Annabelle is what makes it captivating, but this line must be respected. We should not exploit pathological fears, but rather the curiosity about the inexplicable. The Gradual development of the narrative, as in the original accounts, allows the audience to familiarize themselves with the strange without being confronted with excessive shocks. Clear resolution and educational context are essential. Explanations about the origins of beliefs, the psychological impact of such stories, and the distinction between fact and fiction enrich the viewer's experience. The goal is to inform and entertain, not to unduly frighten. It is important to consider the psychological impact on the audience. Horror stories can be cathartic for some, but distressing for others. When presenting the dark mystery, we do so responsibly. Annabelle's legacy lies in her ability to generate debate and fascination, but it also reminds us of the importance of approaching sensitive topics with care and respect. At the end of this exploration, the line between reality and the legend of the Annabelle doll becomes increasingly blurred. What began with the accounts of a nursing student and the intervention of the Warrens has evolved into a global cultural phenomenon, amplified by the film industry. Controlled tension lies in the very uncertainty that surrounds the doll. Is it a cursed object, a conduit for spirits, or a construction of elaborate tales? The genuine mystery allows this question to persist, fueling public imagination and fascination for over 5 decades. The gradual development of its fame, from a peculiar object to a horror icon, demonstrates the power of narratives and popular culture. The resolution for many is not a definitive answer, but the journey itself of exploring these dark and mysterious stories. The educational context is that Annabelle's legend teaches us how our beliefs and fears can shape our perception of reality. The warnings are clear. Separating entertainment from veracity is a crucial exercise when dealing with such narratives. Ultimately, the Annabelle doll remains an enigma, a symbol of our fascination with the known and the ability of stories, true or invented, to seep into our deepest nightmares.